Through a serpent's eyes. I walk 47 miles of barbed wire. I use a cobra snake for a necktie. I got a brand new house on the roadside, made from a rattleskin's hide. I got a brand new chimney made on top, made of a human skull. Come on, take a little walk with me, and honey, tell me, who do you love? The Jesus and Mary chain, who do you love? You open your eyes and see only darkness. You lie still and hear the shadows call your name. No, not the shadows, the sand. Beyond the silk and gilt and mahogany of your sarcophagus lie the sands of Egypt, flown at great expense to your San Francisco home. Beneath the shifting grains you lie hidden from prying eyes. You stretch indulgently, delighting as always in the caress of silk against your cold skin. Naked as a corpse on the embalmer's slab, you lie entombed. Hateful Ra has already sailed beyond the western horizon. Soon you will arise, don your velvet robes, and embrace the pleasures of the night. And what will this evening bring? A city official who accepted one bribe too many? A corrupter of youths? A powder-snorting lounge lizard? A pornographer? So many pleasures, so many nights. Although it was not always this way. You were a police officer then, back in the bright days of your old existence. Against the wishes of your father, a retired policeman, you entered the academy after an undistinguished school career. You had not been bright enough in high school to make it with the nerds, nor athletic enough to be a jock, nor was the allure of numbing your mind and body strong enough to class you a stoner. You drifted from group to group, an outsider, neither loved nor despised, your drab existence punctuated by a shrill ring of the bell separating one class from another, night from day. You realize now that what you craved throughout your years at school was recognition, although at the time it seemed to you that all you wanted was to belong. That was why you applied to join the police force after finishing school. While others went to college, you sweated, drilled, and were abused. The police academy taught you not to belong, but to conform. Not respect from authority, but disregard. The academy taught you to despise those weaker than yourself. Most importantly, it taught you the lesson of brutality. You believed then that wearing the uniform of a policeman would give you the recognition you craved. And it did, in a way. When they recognized your uniform, it bought you their fear. Swaggering down the street, eyes hidden behind sunglasses, hand resting oh so casually on the holster of your gun, you came to savor the fear that your presence brought. Sure, uptown you were a symbol of law and order. You were part of the thin blue line separating society from anarchy. But downtown, it was another matter. Downtown was another world. The gangs, the pimps, the whores, the losers. They soon learned to respect you. And if they didn't respect you, well, fear and hate in equal measure was a fine substitute, as far as you were concerned. You came to know your power intimately, just as you came to know the preening women in stilettos and fishnets who would kneel before you in an alleyway, servicing you free of charge, lest you drag them kicking and screaming before the duty sergeant to face a charge of soliciting. You came to savor the kick of crack as you inhaled, lighter flame dancing before your bloodshot eyes. You came to depend upon the money you took in return for looking the other way. You never thought of yourself as the bad guy, much less evil. Hell, you never even thought of yourself as corrupt. From the talk around the station, you knew sooner or later every cop bent a little in the wind. Bent or broke, you lived in that kind of world. Corruption was the farthest thing from your mind the night she took you. It was a night like any other, your partner beside you telling you about the girl he'd had on the weekend, nothing but another statistic to him, and another routine story to you. The smog was sharp at the back of your throat as you breathed in the smell of sweat, donuts, Chinese takeout, and trash. You swaggered, head held high, thinking about the new girl down the block who hadn't paid you yet, and how you'd make her pay. One hand on your gun, knowing when to agree with your partner and when to stay silent, never listening to his words, having heard them all before from other men on other nights. You were thinking about the girl with the slim hips and the frightened smile. Couldn't be a day over 15, but you'd show her the world. Headlights blinked at you, cars snarled, a newspaper crawled down the street before flapping off in the humid summer breeze. The stars hid behind clouds the color of a smoker's lungs. From the corner of your eye, you saw a wino slumped in the doorway of a pawn shop, brown paper bag covering a bottle clutched in one gnarled hand. And you thought about running him in just for the hell of it. But you passed him by, wanting to get to the girl, led onward by your urgent need. And beside you, your partner droned on as you turned down the alley, his voice echoing off the grime-slicked walls. And you didn't even register his voice stop until his words were a wet, red scream, soft as the mew of a drowning kitten, until his blood splashed your shoulder and you turned to see him lying among the dirt on the alley floor, a second mouth slashed open beneath his chin. It was just him and you. No one stood in the alley, no hood with a knife. But your partner wasn't standing. He was thrashing like that mugger you shot in the gut, and you were trying to scream while one hand went to your mouth to hold back the vomit, and the other hand went for your gun. You crouched, not wanting to touch him, knowing it was too late to check for a pulse because you could see the fading of his heartbeat with every fountain of scarlet spraying from his neck. And before your eyes his jaw went slack and his bowels let go, and his feet danced on the pavement one last desperate time. And he was dead. Your donuts joined his blood on the pavement. Retching and shaking, you crawled to your feet, dropped your heavy service revolver, swore as if the profanity could keep the horror away, picked up the gun, slippery with blood and bile. You turned, reached for the radio at your belt with one shaking hand, had to call this in, and another hand, strong as hate, cold as fear, grasped your wrist and held you tight. A second hand, nails sharp as razors soaked in blood, your partner's blood, grasped your jaw, forced your head up, forcing you to look into eyes like black holes and a grin more savage than a great white shark's. All you saw was the teeth, and those eyes, and the teeth drifting as delicately as snow towards your thickly muscled neck as, choking, you tried to scream. And now you were thrashing like a fish on a hook, the teeth sunk into your neck, an ecstatic, agonizing kiss. You felt yourself shaking, gasping, feet lifted a foot off the ground as your blood pumped into the mouth of the woman who crushed you to her chest. You saw the world receding, heard your heartbeat slowing, felt yourself dropped in slow motion, floating to the alley floor. Faintly, you heard the wet, tearing sound you now know so well, the patter of spring rain on parched soil, and then mother's milk flowing down your throat, burning you, searing lips and tongue, and the taste of it, hot and pulsing, better than crack, better than sex, better than dying. Even as you grasped at the source of this nectar, the wrist at your mouth was drawn away, and cold, strong hands helped you stand, and a voice was whispering in your ear about pain, and power, and death, and darkness, and suffering, but all you wanted was to drink again until you burst. You threw yourself on your partner's cooling body, and lapped the blood from the ragged lips of his torn throat. And you heard the woman laughing. You no longer wear a uniform. You no longer carry a gun. You no longer need any authority save that you carry in your mouth and eyes. Now you have recognition. Now you belong. Now you are a shadow, a threat, a nightmare. Now you are a follower of Set. It is time to rise. You toss your reverie aside as easily as shedding your skin, and with a word and a thought reshape your body to one more supple and serpentine. Flicking your forked tongue to taste the air, you assure yourself that none have penetrated your haven as you slept through the day. Then slide out of your sarcophagus and up through the loose sand. Head raised, you scan the room with unblinking eyes, glancing at the palm trees set amidst the shifting grains, the hieroglyphs and paintings of pyramids, cattle and kings adorning the alabaster walls. Content, you shift again, stand on two legs and walk towards the door. Slide back the heavy bolts, punch a code into the electronic alarm, and swing open the door of your sanctum. The apartment is in darkness, curtains drawn. Unerringly, you glide towards the shower, and after luxuriating beneath the scalding spray, briskly towel yourself dry before donning your robes of velvet and satin. You cinch the sash about your slender waist, smooth one hand over the embroidery, and smile. Already you feel hunger stirring within you. You walk to the windows of your apartment, draw back the curtains, look down on the glittering web of street lights strung on the necklace of the night, and smile. It is not a pleasant smile. San Francisco lies spread out before you. A plethora of pleasures awaits your tender ministrations. An eternity of evil. Your laughter rings about the apartment as you walk towards the door.